we're going to get the run it back. Honestly, if I'm LNG, I take Alistair and Tristana here. Like, that is all I care about. I can take the Graves later on, but if I can guarantee this strong bot lane for LNG, I'm in such a good position. Yes, the Alistair is great, but I think the AD carry is even more crucial for Light in this scenario.
Yeah, it honestly feels like Light, you know, when he's on something he's comfortable with, he's able to go for it, but they're going to go into locking the Graves and the Alistair. So again, we are still running it back pretty damn standard if they do lock this one in. Tarzan did not have a bad game on Graves. Very important to recognize that. But it has definitely not been the most... it's definitely not seen the fruits of what we expected to be, considering how high of a priority has been on the picks and bans.
Yeah, I think for me, I just like Tarzan where he's on something that can have a little bit more of an impact in the lanes versus the lanes playing towards him. And that's kind of the way that this Graves works, is it's much more about getting into the opponent's jungle, invading, clearing away camps. But I prefer seeing Tarzan on champions like Olaf and even the Talias and these kind of things. Udyr, I know Udyr's banned, but like champions where he can play towards his laners and support them instead.
So they want to go for the Tristana again, taken away from LNG by Gala. He had a fantastic game one on it, was able to keep himself safe, was able to pick up those kills, and then just able to melt objectives. And that possibility is still very much there. We've seen the Renekton being flexed into the mid lane and up towards the top lane. It was actually a really nice little movement there from WE, I believe, in drafting yesterday, where they picked in the Lilia, the Renekton. Everyone was like, okay, that's top jungle, and they swapped it around. Were able to put the Lilia and then the Cassiopeia, I believe, up into the top instead. So just getting a decent kind of matchup overall, being able to swap those two carries. So honestly, right now, I feel like RNG are still kind of outdrafting LNG. I feel like LNG's comp still lacks a lot of kind of range and safety to be able to kind of run into them.
Yeah, and I mean, on the Renekton point, Cryin has done it previously. Looking at these bans, though, I want to see a Rel ban. I want to see, well, I actually wanted to see the Rel and the Leona. I think just giving away the kill pressure from this bottom lane for the likes of this Tristana would have done really, really well. But it looks like instead they're going to ban away the Lucian from the top lane. So this signals to me that LNG are probably looking to first rotation Gnar here. Especially when you've already got the Camille banned, the Lucian now banned away. You still have picks potentially like the Jace open if they do want to get that for Xiaohu in the top lane. So I'm still not the biggest fan of going towards this, but it definitely feels like this is the way that LNG are thinking about it.
Honestly, right now, this feels for me for RNG with the bans they've put in, Orianna, Azir, things that can go into the Renekton very, very safely, is that you can just flex whatever the hell you want now, depending on what you want to go for. If you pick into, you know, a blind top pick now for LNG, you have the run of the mill, and that's why I think this is the correct call from LNG. You first rotation your mid lane, and then you're able to kind of keep something for Ally so he's not getting 100% countered.
I still feel like, though, we're seeing basically the same game plan here from RNG, which is like, right, we've got this very strong bot lane. We've now got the there we go, yeah, the Renekton flexing in towards mid, so strong mid priority that is 100% going to be roaming down up towards his top side, towards the Gnar. So again, front to back team fight, very, very strong. Big kill lane in the bot lane. It's still feeling like a very similar kind of style to RNG in the last game. Whereas you look at LNG, now it's Ale bringing out the counter pick, and this is where we need to see Tarzan putting a lot of eggs in towards that top side basket to make sure that this Irelia can play aggressive, get these advantages towards Xiaohu. And Xiaohu, certainly in these matchups where he has been counterpicked, doesn't always fare too well. So expect Ming and Wei to be making a lot of plays towards this top side to try and facilitate him.
Well, the Irelia is something that can make action happen for your team, and Ale, aka Natural, if you knew him back then, was definitely someone who leaned into that. Irelia being one of his kind of standard picks that he kind of was able to help with Dominus, who are now TT. And I'm honestly excited to see what LG could do with this pick. But like you said, they're going to have to try and put emphasis on the top side. They need to get the Irelia going. She does need about 2 items before she's starting to one-shot AD carries and become a nuisance on backlines.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to see if we ever get Ale into team fights. I imagine what they're going to try and do is just get her so far ahead that she just runs down this Gnar. You can even go towards something like the early Blade of the Rune King to provide the slows to just keep the distance closed. And then once you have Ale set up in a side lane, the 4-man from LNG is incredibly potent. Like, you've got Irwandi that can set up these big engages, you can have the Samira running in, you've got a lot of damage from the Graves, zone control coming through from the Victor alongside that big ultimate. So certainly LNG, if they can operate this 1-4 composition, can do very well. But if we end up in a situation where Xiaohu survives the laning phase, Wei is able to use the advantageous bot lane that he has to secure some of these early dragons, it could end up in a situation where LNG are just drawn into these fights and RNG can just fight them toe to toe.
Well, we'll see now if RNG can seal the deal with a 2-0 or if LNG will be sending us to a Game 3. Jumping on to the Rift. Whatever happens, happens. Both these teams pushing for playoffs. RNG definitely pushing for top 2. Very important matchup for both of these sides. And for LNG, we talked about at the start of the day, yet to really beat anyone above them. So big match for them.
I'm scared for LNG, Penguin. I'm scared. Like, I want them. I want to see what they're capable of. But I am such a big fan, and obviously you can hear it in me when I'm talking about them. I like when this team plays around bot side. I think Light has been exceptional in team fights when he gets a lead, and the fact that they're not playing as heavily around this bottom lane just doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me now. As you can see already in this top side, Ale is not a bad player. Like, Ale is actually quite a good top laner. It just feels that in the grand scheme of things, trying to play through topside in this meta just doesn't bring back the same rewards that you would really expect.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it doesn't really work as well, specifically for LNG. Of course, you look at RNG, who almost exclusively play through their top side. It does work for them, but just the way things have been going so far this season for LNG, it doesn't really look like it's as prominent of usage of resources. And Tarzan, like, you look at all these, let's just take a moment to actually talk about LNG and kind of like how this roster looks and what we all think about it. Actually, I've got to stop myself. Crashdown comes down and Iwandi and Ming trade a little bit of their health bars, but you look at all these players individually. Ale, Tarzan, Icon, Light, Iwandi. Maybe Iwandi you could have maybe taken a pass on to, but you look at these and you kind of think to yourself like, oh, these are decent enough. Not best in role by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely decent. And when it comes together, it looks fantastic for LNG, but it just hasn't been consistent enough for me to really give them the pass of, you know, they're going to be able to go make a deep run into playoffs.
Yeah, and it's that consistency that irks me, because like I love watching this bottom lane from LNG when they get ahead, and that seems to be just when they look good, it's because Light and Iwandi are popping the hell off. And even when you cast your mind right the way back to their first series, where it was Light on the Tristana, he moved around the map consistently, getting all of these turret plates for himself, and then just snowballing completely out of control both games in that series. That was what I expected to be the bread and butter then from LNG. That just seemed like, okay, they've cracked the code already. This team is looking amazing. I love this. Early game jungler from Tarzan. Superstar bot lane. Let's get it going, LNG. And then I didn't cast them for a little bit. And I watched a couple of their games and I came back and I was like, wait a second. These guys are playing around Mikuya. These guys are playing around Ale. Why are you not playing towards what is such a strong bot lane? And yes, it can be to shore up some of those weaknesses, but shoring up weaknesses only gets you so far. You need to at least be proactive, at least trying to play towards some sort of strength on your team. And unfortunately for LNG, they just haven't found that right balance between the two right now.
Yeah, it hasn't really come together. And, you know, it's funny because like a couple of us were very excited for LNG coming into the season. Of course, like I said, you look at all these players individually, bar maybe Iwandi, you get excited for this team, but I think the one thing that we could be pleasantly surprised with is how well RNG have come together. Looking on the other side of the coin is that RNG are pushing for top, you know, of the regular split. They're looking to be the representative that goes to MSI for the first time for them in, you know, 3 years. 2018 obviously being the last time they were there, and it's fun to see such a resurgence from a team like RNG that is just like stacked with history. And honestly, it makes me very happy to know that they are they're not, you know, just throwing out the baby with the bathwater once Uzi was gone.
Yeah, and it was hard to be an RNG fan last split. Like, I mean, I'm speaking for myself here as a guy who was an RNG fan. It was tough. It was tough when you're watching just the entire thing fall apart. But this RNG looks a lot better. And I think a large part of that, as we said, coming from Xiaohu in the top lane. But certainly Wei has been a standout performer. And you can see it here, already threatening Tarzan. Having this smart pathing that allows him to take advantage of how quickly he can clear over Tarzan, taking advantage of the fact that Cryin has this push in the mid lane, and you can see he still has his bottom side jungle.
Oh, there we go. Flash in, first blood. Icon, you just saw him, man. That was a great opportunistic kill for RNG, but Icon with the unforced error.
Yeah, That's a pretty big error from Icon. I mean, even just walking into range of Cryin there is something you do not want to do bot side, though.
Here we go. Double TPs being used. Both the top laners are going to be joining this one. Actually, it's going to be the mid laners, excuse me, who go into Ming as though it's going to go back down. Xiaohu not really feeling that one just yet, but that means he gets free reign on this top side to try and push this in.
And I'm okay with this as an RNG player, because we've just watched Xiaohu. He's going to be able to push in this wave, get a little bit of advantage for himself, or maybe even counter plays on the bottom side in a little bit of time. RNG will have that advantage.
It's all about what you're able to use. It's all nice and good saying you have a teleport advantage, but if you don't use it and the teleport of the opposite team comes back up, it's kind of null and void. But see now, RNG still got a little bit of a lead. They got the first 400 or 300 gold or such. For LNG, Tarzan, he's very happy with this Graves. He's very happy to continue to push with it, but again, Graves is one of those things that I feel like when he gets ahead, he looks fantastic because he's able to 1v1 pretty much anybody, but when he's on equal footing, he just doesn't really do a lot. It feels very muted.
Yeah, he definitely is someone that needs to play through his lanes to try and find those. But as you can see, look, Wei's been doing a really good job of making sure that you can't really get those chances there. And now they're moving into Tarzan's jungle. They're the ones that are going aggressive. Wei's the one with the level advantage. And what do you try and do as Tarzan when you're consistent?
Mid lane as Icon forces Cryin back, just trying to take the wave. And now we see the battle for the blue buff happening here. Level 6 has been hit here for Wei. He gets the smite fight down, and he's able to steal the enemy blue and then give away your blue without any kind of like feelings of regret. But
you're gonna give it to Xiaohu either. This is just like, hey, this is more mana for me, more good times for this Lilia, and I like Xiaohu. Oh, this is what I love to see.
Yeah, he roams down from the top side. There is no Chaos Storm. They get a kill for kill, but the plate does go over, and Xiaohu able to take that one up. So the advantage that you see finding their own advantages, they don't need to be given resources. They can make their own.
You are Xiaohu. You can't really go and try and lane against this. It's way too easy now with boots available as well. She can chase Xiaohu down this lane. And you can see Xiaohu knows it. That's why Xiaohu moved mid. He's like, look, I can't stick around here. If Tarzan is topside and Allay's there as well, I'm just dead.
Yeah, we'll see Wandy jumping onto Ming. As Wei, they're going to try and put that one down, but there's no follow-up. RNG, do they look for it? They're just going to try and get a little side. They were trying to see if they could trade a Rift for a Dragon, but will not be allowed. And RNG, they're starting to feel like they want to pick up the pace a little bit. Looks like they're trying to get advantages going for them across, multiple points of the map.
Yeah, especially when, look, try and hold on to that freeze at the Rift and doesn't want to contest Rift Herald, which gives RNG the time now to move in towards mid. Cryin had full control of the mid lane as well, so this is just RNG favored. And although LNG are trying to contest, I don't think this is the best idea.
No, they haven't really got the vision nor the position to be able to contest that one, so Rift Herald goes over in favor of RNG, and they might be able to reset in time to try and stop this dragon coming over. You can see LNG moving everyone back towards this bot side, but I don't think they just haven't got the positioning right now. They tried to contest the Rift rather than taking and trading the dragon, and it might be just RNG taking objectives across the board.
But the problem here is that, like, for LNG, it's not only the fact that RNG got that Rift Herald, it's that Ally had to break his freeze in the top lane to make it happen. So you can see, obviously, that massive lead already opened up with CS as Wei just moves in and smites this. Ally forced to flash away. He'll be fine, though. But you could have had this open up way more. You could have used this as a pivot point for Tarzan, where he can move up towards top, try to abuse Xiaohu, find these advantages towards Ally, but unfortunately for them, now Ally, having given that up, might be able to try and set up another freeze there, but decides not to. But again, like, these are the small things where LNG could have pushed those advantages.
One advantage they will have, or one disadvantage they will no longer have, though, in about 20 or 30 seconds or so, is going to be those teleports they had to burn to get down towards that bot side. Wandy is here. Cryin is walking towards this mid lane. Icon needs to be a little bit careful. We'll get tagged and brought down with the Lilting Lullaby. There's the Chaos Storm and the Gravity Gate, but is going to be Icon traded. Both junglers taking down both mid laners as Tarzan and Wei now push in the respective lanes. They pick up the spoils of war after the mid laners continue to go toe-to-toe.
I love how every time Icon is meant to be wrenched through the gates of hell to his death, he just reaches back, grabs Cryin by the scruff of the neck and is like, you're coming with me, buddy. It's every time without fail. Now in bot lane.
Oh, Wandy is there, but they have the Rift Herald here now, so this could be a bit dangerous for the side of LNG. Rift Herald will be spawned right in front of the tower. They will be able to take a lot of damage down off of it. Nope, he turns around just in time, and no, they get it, a smite! Oh, RNG, that's just a little wasteful.
It's really sad as well because RNG have realized, look, Gala is our sole source of damage. Like, yeah, Wei can do some Crying and Xiaohu, but realistically, we're all on the Gala hype train right now. And that train has just been derailed a little bit with that nice shutdown on the Rift Herald coming in from Tarzan. No gold going over in favour of Gala. They can't crack open the bot lane turn and allow Gala to start moving around the map, try and pick up a few more of these plates. RNG will try and at least turn this in towards a dragon, which is nice, but they definitely would have liked to accelerate Tristana.
Yeah, a little bit of a missed opportunity. Could have accelerated. Unfortunately, not going to happen, but they will take the dragon anyway, as it is the objective where nobody on the side of LNG is willing to contest. So Wei takes 2 objectives on the board. He's 2 for 2. Nicely done for him there. And he has a 30 CS lead over this this Graves as well. So this Lilia has shown to be at least a much brighter pick here for Wei in this early game, considering the first one, but not looking terribly at all for the side of LNG. Yes, you lose yourself a dragon and a Rift Herald, but the Rift Herald you negated, and you're only 400 gold down, so you'll take that.
Again, though, we're seeing a very quiet game from Tarzan. Like, he's 30 CS behind, he's not impacting the lanes, and Wei's been doing a really good job of, like, every time Tarzan has tried to go towards a lane, Wei's been getting in, taking away his farm, and making Tarzan play on the back foot. And it means that right now, this lane that we talked about in top side, where you want to try and snowball Ally for LNG, yeah, he's got a 30 CS lead, but it's not the biggest lead, and you can see Xiaohu, like, he's perfectly fine to keep control over this top side.
It's a 30 CS lead, but then you take into consideration that Xiaohu was able to pick up a kill. So out of nowhere, it's kind of like, well, 22 or 23 of that CS is kind of null and void, and then you kind of bring it down to about 10. Not really looking too hot for the side of LNG's Ale. Will be pretty happy once he's able to get onto his items, though, and able to kind of set himself up for success. Again, his priority is not to be able to kill off Xiaohu. It is to be able to go toe-to-toe with Xiaohu in the top side, but more so in these team fights. He needs to get on top of Gala. He needs to land the Vanguard's edge and try and just stop this Tristana, like you said, from being the sole damage source. You take her out, and you take away a lot of the gold here from the side of RNG.
Yeah, but, like, as LNG, your team fighting just sucks in comparison to RNG. Like, RNG basically have everything you do but better. Like, a really strong front line in Xiaohu and Crying and Ming. You got Wei, who's got this long-range poke and the ability to set up these sleeps, to set up engages. And Gala's going to be a monster come the late game. So, as LNG, you don't really want to be taking these fights. You want to be snowballing through these side lanes, and you ain't getting the opportunity to do it.
No, and with Wei here, Ale has to pay respect to the incredibly fed Lilia, excuse me. I saw Liandry's and got very confused as to which word I wanted to say. But the Liandry's picked up the stopwatch there as well. You can see him there with the Dark Seal. They might just try and jump onto Ale here. There we go. Lilting Lullaby is there. They get the TP. That's all they needed. Just the threat alone is enough to get them a global advantage.
And especially when you're looking towards the likes of these dragons and even the Rift Herald that's going to be spawning, as you can see, in just a little bit of time. That's fantastic, because now Icon isn't able to come in as quickly as he can. You've got Crying, he's got full control. He'll be able to back, start working towards Hysterics. And it's just, again, RNG pushing the advantages that they have, pushing that tempo. And again, 3-3 in kills, yeah. But look at that gold lead, 1,000 gold again for RNG. They're starting to crank it up, even though we're seeing advantages in this top side and the bottom lane when it comes towards the CS numbers.
Dragging that up for another 2 minutes. They will have the Rift Herald up in another 10 seconds or so. But Gala now pushing in towards this bot side. And that's going to be 2 towers as LNG look to try and take the Rift Herald. They've already moved up pretty much everybody here, but the Rift Herald's only going to get you a tower. Like, it's not really, like, in terms of its base stats, it's not even guaranteed to get you a tower. It's only guaranteed to get you about half the HP off it. So RNG, they're going for the exact same play they did last time. You want to be on the one side of the map, we'll be on the complete opposite, and we're just going to push as fast as we possibly can to make this not worth for you.
And RNG are one of the most dangerous teams when these side lane turrets go down, because they will just shove in super effectively with Xiaohu, Gala on the spot side as well, and all collapse in towards this mid. So you can already see, like, they're starting to get the pieces in place. Xiaohu top side, Crying will go bot. They'll shove in and just entirely encompass your jungle with vision and run you down in the mid lane. Icon is not safe. Tarzan is not safe. And the second LNG try and contest these side waves, that's when you'll see RNG strike.
LNG, you kind of need to find some kind of a pick. I feel you need to find some kind of an advantage. I feel like right now they are just saying to Ale, look, you gotta find Gala, man. That's all you gotta do. You gotta just, for some way, some reason, somehow, you need to try and stop this guy, this Tristana, and then we can look to try and maybe get the team fight going for us. But with 40 seconds now until this Drake spawns, all the lanes pushed very much in favor of RNG. They've got control of the map. They're gonna be the first ones into the river, and you can see prepping this mid wave, they're just gonna have all the options to them.
Yeah, you can see it there again, like Xiaohu pushes in that top side, now he roams towards mid, they're trying to draw LNG into these unfavorable spots. Xiaohu though, nice hop and a skip and a jump to escape away there.
Yeah, gets himself out of harm's way. Awandi will take a bit of punishment on the backside of this. Mega Gnar has been hit by Xiaohu, and he throws in more and more rocks. And RNG, they're going to turn to this dragon. There's nothing the side of LNG can do. Honestly, I kind of agree with this call from LNG. They know that they can't really do anything, but they have the Rift Heralds. They might look to go for an engage in mid, try to take that turret. Cryan clears the waves, so they won't quite just get it, but a Magnet Storm is insane on top of the lilting lullaby. That was beautiful.
That was nasty. What was that? They just obliterated LNG out of nowhere. That was the sexiest combo I've seen in the LPL, I think, in the entire time I've been casting. That was disgusting.
And they eventually get the ace. We didn't even need to cast that bit because
God.
This is why I genuinely believe that right now, and I will fight people on this, that Ming is just the best support in the league as of this moment in time. He is just so damn good. That was just so... I can't wait to watch this because he goes on a dime. He just immediately, he sees the opportunity and he jumps straight onto it. And now look at the results now. You're getting mid lane turret. You're able to push in bot, top. Everywhere is now pushed in for you. You've lost any kind of a semblance of control now from LNG. And that was from LNG trying to respond to losing to a dragon.
Yeah, they thought they were safe because the Nara went down, but this is actually where Ming, you can use the Magnet Storm as you flash in to guarantee the multi-man knockup, and that's what you see there. Wei then flashing in to follow up with that sleep, putting LNG in their place. That was gorgeous.
Man has just been on a tear in the last few series. Ming, MVP from week 6 and putting in a pretty decent game today to maybe put him in the, at least in the All-Pro team of week 7, because that was absolutely insane. Ming has just been on top form, best probably played in a very long time. And RNG, they now skyrocketed. It's a 5,000 gold lead. They've got themselves pressure in all 3 lanes. They now have items on pretty much everywhere. 2 items onto the Xiaohu, who is supposed to be on the weak side. He's supposed to be playing weak side top lane, and not this guy. He's got himself 1,000 gold lead. You can see there on the side, pretty much gold leads across the board as Ale forced to use the stun, flawless duet, and the flash to get himself out. And RNG, this is where we talk about. This is why they're such a crazy, scary team to go against, because they pick up the pace, they change the gears, they shift you into a pace or tempo that you're not comfortable with, and they never let you come back.
Exactly, and you can see there, it's all about like creating these advantages through numbers. LNG commit 3 people bot, cool. RNG push in mid. Now you're creating space on towards the top side. You're getting these quicker resets coming in. Like, this is how RNG play the game, and it's about creating like 1 to 2 second advantages and another 1 to 2 seconds. It's now 4 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and then they can do with whatever they want on the map. And this is what makes RNG so potent and difficult to deal with. You can see it now. As we said, push in bot, draw numbers there, then shove mid, draw back LNG into mid lane, and then give Xiaohu opportunities on the bottom side.
Well, they're going straight in on top of Light, who is almost certainly going to die here. They commit a couple of ultimates to take him down, but that's all they wanted. Now, they get themselves a tier 2 into the mid lane. Baron is available to them. They have Dragon in just under 2 minutes. Cryan, though, has to be a little bit careful against Icon. He doesn't have the best of times against the Victor, and he will have to pop the dominance. So ult for ult as Icon tries to find some kind of pressure to try and respond to what RNG are putting down.
Yeah, but I'm getting deja vu, Penguin. I mean, you're losing tier 2s and Icon's like, I got a tier 1 on this side lane, don't you worry, guys. And he doesn't even get it. Like, Cryan just walks back towards that top side. He's like, cool, I'm a Renekton. I heal this up, I do the good things, and it's all going to be fine. So now that he does need to be careful, because look where RNG are on the map. They're not really in a position to contest anything, as Cryan now might be caught out.
He's got flash. It should be able to get himself into position, but that Iwandi is there and able to knock him up. They will be able to gift this one over, you imagine, to Icon. Nicely done there. A little bit of an overextension here from RNG. They overextend. They get punished. LNG need to find about 7 more of those, to be perfectly honest. They need to try and keep this game as close as possible, but it's so hard. It's so hard. And with Gala now on 2 items, you've got Randuin's almost finished up, and Light has to just back away. He can't stay here. He can never at any point go one-on-one with Gala, because Gala will just rocket jump on him immediately.
Yeah, and now you're in a position where RNG, again, inhibitor tower for tier 1. They can back away towards Dragon. They're in no problems whatsoever on this map, and LNG are just getting outplayed.
Yeah, there's the Vanguard's edge. Xiaohu forced the flash away, but might be in a little bit of trouble. RNG decide the better of it with 10 seconds so that Mountain Drake does spawn. They are going to just set themselves up to put them on to Soul Point. Now, Wei 403 sitting on a Medjai's Soul Stealer with 13 stacks. He is becoming a bit of a nuisance, and I was curious to know, you saying about the damage. Damage isn't an issue anymore because Wei was able to get so far accelerated.
And Ale, on the opposite side, the person that we've been highlighting at LNG that needs to be accelerated and doing damage, isn't really in that position. He's had to go for the early Sterix. Would have loved to gone like Blade of the Rune King in towards a Triforce, get that Mythic, and really take over in the side lane. But because of the issues that he's had, because this game has fallen so out of control for LNG, he's had to go towards this more teamfight orientated build where he just isn't comfortable.
Still waiting on his first Mythic, not able to pick up the Triforce or the Divine Sunderer, 2 of the, or even maybe even the Stride Breaker, you know, something to give him some kind of an edge, either with a passive or an active to get him, you know, maybe break the distance, add a Sheen proc, either or, but not able to get anything. It is still okay for the side of LNG in terms of gold. Like we said, the Renekton and the Gnar aren't going to be doing a massive amount of damage in these team fights should they play it well, but Gala and Wei are just so hard to, you know, get a hand on and really kind of keep them locked and loaded for these team fights, and you kind of just have to go in with Ale or Iwandi and then, you know, the rest of the team kind of follow, but I just don't see it happening. It's very difficult for me to see RNG just gifting them a team fight. Oh, we'll see what's going on the bot side. Xiaohu now pushing back. See if he can keep split pushing this one. Now Ale is going to be subbed in to try and deal with that one. But while that's happening bot side, 2 people are there, which means that we can commit everybody from RNG up into the top side. And that is just more objectives, more gold going over to RNG.
And this is again where RNG are most comfortable, right? We talked about it from the get-go, like having Xiaohu in a side lane, and they're just able to play around the advantages they can pick up there. TP and behind them, though.
Yeah, TP is there. It looks like they're going to focus onto Ale, though, and try and get him down immediately. You can see the Flawless Duet was unfortunately flawed, as now Ale is going to be taken so low. Gala free-hitting. Look at him. He doesn't have a care in the world. They're trying to jump in on top of them. Light does go in, picks up 1, but is not able to pick up another. Double kill for Gala, and he's a hop, skip, and a jump away from a triple. He will take down Tarzan, and that is 3 kills in favor of RNG, and now Icon left with nobody to help him out. He will go down. It won't be a quadra. It'll be Xiaohu taking that one. Iwandi went back to deny any sort of kind of penta. And now RNG, after losing 2, will gain the Baron, get the team fight. They can reset beyond the map, ready for the Soul Point.
And you can see, even though it looks amazing to start things off for LNG, they just don't team fight as well as RNG with the composition that they have. And now Iwandi, you can try and make the hero play, but it ain't gonna happen for you. He's gonna give his life to RNG. The delayed ace coming through for RNG.
I will say that's
they pulled off.
Yeah,
I didn't expect everyone to just hop over. I thought someone would stay. It was so low.
Yeah,
well,
it went to
anyway.
3000 HP. Anyway, but let's have a look at this fight. It's Ale trying a desperation play.
Ale does TP in, and it looks great. They can get onto Wei, but Wei has actually still got a stopwatch. He hasn't had to burn it this entire game. And by the time Xiaohu comes in, like, RNG are already as a 5-man stack before LNG do. So a real heavy overcommit from LNG. And even then, like, the Aurelia doesn't do a huge amount in these fights. If she's not able to get onto Gala and essentially assassinate him, Gala can go absolutely nuts. There's so much peel on this composition between the Rel, the Lilia, the Gnar, even Crying having that stun on the W as well. Like, it becomes nigh on impossible to really touch the back line. And you can see there LNG just get routed in place.
One positive, they did knock the Magi Soul stacks down in just above half, so it was 13, now 7. Good job to the side of LNG. But yeah, that's about as much as a positive as I can give them. Yeah, it's as much as I can give right now. There's not a lot I can go for. And again and again, we're seeing why RNG are just able to dictate the pace. And you can see LNG twice now in the first game and in this one, where they've gone for these very obvious desperation engages of like, if we don't win right now, we're kind of never going to win. And it was a much later in the game, in game 1, you know, to be fair to them, but this one, it just, again, I feel like I'm being a negative Nancy, because it's more an inevitability. It's a matter of when rather than if.
Well, I mean, it's 30 seconds, right? That's when this Mountain Dragon is up. RNG have all the key summoner spells up, and Xiaohu's chasing Iwandi.
Yeah, Iwandi might have been caught out here, as he just had to pop the Unbreakable Will, but he will be broken and turned into hamburgers. There is Xiaohu jumping over the wall, will get flawlessly duetted to stop him from moving, but now you've no engage. Who goes in from the side? As I say that, there, Flak in, as Xiaohu gets caught and jumps straight on top of people, and you can see Ale trying to jump onto Gala. Light will pick up a kill, so it's a 2-for-1 overall, but the Tristana is dead. That's 2 kills here for Light. He will fall, though, as he's just not able to keep the damage consistent. Tarzan has to back away. Ale trying his best, but there is nowhere for you to go. It's an ace 2-5 in favor of RNG. They can now push in the bot wave. They can push in, get this inhibitor in mid. They can take everything.
It looks like they're trying to go from the end with the wave that's about to crash in towards mid. Iwandi now, he made a hero play at Baron, gave his life for it, might need to do the same, and it looks like, at least with Iwandi showing up, RNG will back away. They're just going to take this bottom lane turret and pass away the chance.
I think for RNG, you do your due diligence. Don't worry, crying. We all saw that. But I think for, you know, for RNG, you do your due diligence. You've gotten the inhibitor broken open now. You go back, you take the Mountain Soul. That's a guaranteed buff. You don't need to run around and risk losing this game off of a silly, silly play. And again, it's just, even they took down Gala, they were able to kill off Tristana. It's still just 10,000 gold is just not something you can just throw away.
Yeah, I mean, 10,000 gold, all those Mountain Dragons, and this could have been the fight, right? I mean, Ale gets basically untouched this entire fight, directly in towards the backline into Gala, and still nobody's really peeling for Gala here. So it could have been it, but unfortunately the wallets are just too big for RNG right now. And no matter how well you play this as Ale, there's just no hope of you ever succeeding with how big Wei is, how much gold Xiaohu has, and same for Crying in this mid lane.
Well, they've got themselves 3 items now onto their AD carries, so there's that. This feels like it's again on Light. You talked about it, but I have to stop myself straight away. Xiaohu gets jumped onto by Iwandi, who does pop the Unbreakable Will. There's the Magna Storm, catches onto 2. It's Ale and Iwandi. They're trying to see if they can get anything else. Chaos Storm on top of the Vanguard's edge. There's an opportunity, but there's no AD carry left now for LNG. And you can see with Gala untouched, he's just hopping, he's skipping, he's jumping. He is producing another fantastic performance, and RNG will take the ace. They will take the game and the series 2-0.
And again, RNG showing why they're top of the table in the LPL. Like, this was dominant from start to finish. A few hiccups here and there, like in game number 1, but honestly, this has just been beautiful from the RNG squad.
For RNG, they set themselves up now equal at the top of the standings to EDG, and that is the big match that we have coming up for themselves. They're setting themselves up to be ready for that